Hello and welcome to Frank's vlog. This is the 10th day of January 2024, and the 10th one. I must have not circled one. There we go. This cat was sleeping sound and I had to wake it up because I've got to do this over again. I messed up. So I'm my timing's a little off here. Okay, what I want to do today on this vlog, is I want to use some literary terms. I'm going to talk, just, turn English teacher in a way. As I tell this story, The Pergola Pump, I'm going to tell it as the all-knowing author. That's the term for it. Not first person, as if it happened to me, not as if it happened to you, second person. The all-knowing author. I know the story. I know it from all the angles, so I'll be telling it that way. That's one literary term. Another one, I want to say something about the style that I expect I'll be using. I don't read very much fiction at all, very little. So I'm no student of various kinds of style. To me, I'm just going to tell the story, a plain style, kind of just straight out. If I'm affected by any writer of fiction, I would say it's probably Tolstoy, Leonid Tolstoy. And I'm a painfully slow reader, so it's kind of amazing that I would take to Tolstoy because he writes in such detail. I won't be doing that, no, I don't think. But I'm going to have a lot of characters. Tolstoy's like that. I mean, he creates characters and delineates them in great detail and all that. I don't mind that. Dickens did the same thing, but I mind it with Dickens. So I don't know what my style is. I'm just going to be telling a story. Another term that's used sometimes when they talk about literature like this is tone. What's my attitude toward my listeners? And it's basically going to be, I think, lighthearted, not to scare you, and not to delight you necessarily. But it's going to be lighthearted, as if I wouldn't want you to take this too seriously. However, it's deceptive that way because I am very serious about what I'm doing here, but I'm going to try to make it come across as if it's fairly lighthearted. So deceptively lighthearted. Scope is a term they use. How broad is my subject here? How broad is the scope? And in some ways, I think it's quite broad. In terms of characters, I mean, if this were written out as a book instead of being presented orally, it would be well over 1,000 pages. And I'm going to have, or I have already, between 50 and 100 characters. So in that way, it's got a very broad scope. But if you think about the geography of it, how far and wide does it take place? In a way, it's wide because the action will go from southern Virginia to southern Maine, New Hampshire, upper New York State, Vermont, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania. It'll take place that would seem wide, but most of the action is going to be within a fictitious city called Richland, North Virginia. And a lot of that action is going to take place within one household, within a backyard in that city. Quite a bit of the action. So in a way, the scope is going to be quite narrow. In timing, how is it going to take months, years to tell the story? I mean, within the story itself? No, it's going to be quite narrow that way. 4 months, the whole thing, basically. It'll start in August. It'll end probably in November. Well, and I may touch December maybe toward the very end. But basically, it's going to take one of the books is going to take place basically in 5 days, I think, maybe even 4 days. So it's gonna, the action's going to be quite fast that way. Now I think of that as scope. Another thing that I could say about the style, it's going to be serial, meant to be read in series, one after the other. But I don't intend to put a hook from one episode to the next. So what's going to happen next? Sort of like Scheherazade was famous for doing that to keep herself alive for 1,001 nights. I don't know if you know that story or not, but she would be kept alive one more day so she could pick up the story where she left it off, and then go on, but then leave another hook. Well, I'm not going to do that on purpose. If I see an obvious place to stop, I'll stop and then go on. But I'm not going to plan to make it so, oh, you gotta see what's coming next. No, I won't be doing that. The playlists is the way I'm going to build this thing, so that if you wanted to watch it from start to finish, you would just go and start a playlist and say play all, and it would just go from one episode to the next to the next. That's the reason I want to have as little interruption between episodes as possible. I'll normally probably just say bye for now, and when I start the next one, I'll say something like I'm back, or here's what just happened. Now here, I may find some way to put a transition between episodes. I don't know. This is a new experience for me. There's going to be a gloss. Now a gloss is a commentary. And once I get telling the story, I'm also going to have a gloss, which will be commentary on the story and what I'm doing. But that'll be separate. If you don't want to hear that, or you don't want to see it, it won't interrupt. As a matter of fact, you'd have to decide that you want to take a look at the gloss or listen to the gloss to hear that. So playlists. What else have we got? Literary terms is what I'm talking about. This is the oral tradition. That's what it's called when you don't have a fixed written text. If I were to tell the story a second time, I would certainly tell it in different words, possibly in different order. I might actually even change some things. It's meant to be an oral thing, which somebody else might tell the story, in which case they would change some things. That's fine. That's not what people usually think of as literature, but it's the oldest kind of literature, and I'm going back to it. I say there's no fixed text. There will, if you put it on captions, you will be able to see a text, and I've tried that. Now there's no punctuation when they have those captions like that, so it's not. So it's a little bit different, but I find that my diction is clear enough that the captions pick it up pretty well. So there's that. I'm just kind of picking things up here. I did want to mention that I'm not a packager. I'm not going to try to package the separate episodes. I'm not even really going to package the whole thing. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to tell a story, and it would be nice if somebody packaged it, but I'm not going to be doing that. So I just think of that as packaging. So all-knowing author, style, tone, scope, time, space, characters, gloss, serial, no hook. I'm not a packager. The playlist, I told about that. I think the only thing I have left is to mention that what I'm doing right now will be the introduction. Just like a book starts with an introduction very often, this will be the introduction. When I put these videos that I'm doing right now, I think there's 10 of them so far, when I put them together in a playlist, that will be the introduction. Bye for now.